What can you tell everybody beyond what you've already said, what it's like to have been a pro-life leader on such a large scale for so many years, meeting so many amazing people and being involved in so many very difficult positions? There are others who might follow and do that themselves. What can you tell them? What can you say?
Well, I think I mentioned it earlier when Vicki Russell, the interviewer at the CBC, was doing a bit on campaign life and what we were doing. And she had to interview my wife, and my wife said to her, well, one of the things people won't believe is that he's shy. And Russell laughed like heck and said, he's shy? Yeah. And the thing was, I tried not to propel myself out front. I waited for other people to do something. And then I remembered when I was an altar server when I was a young boy, there was a little notice in the church bulletin, and it said, I waited patiently for somebody to do something. And then I realized that I was somebody. So when I would hear people speaking up about whatever, and or nobody speaking up about something that was wrong or an injustice or whatever, I felt obligated to speak up. And I began doing that. And one thing that bothered me greatly, I went to a Catholic high school, Neil McNeil High School, and I was going there for a reunion one time. And as I walked in, I was with another man, Johnny McCormick, who was in the fundraising business. Yeah. I brought him into the fundraising business to replace the previous guy who had joined the pro-life movement. And so the woman teacher there said, oh, John, what do you do? I'm a fundraiser. Oh, that's very nice. And what do you do? I said, I'm a salesman. And he laughed and said, he's not a salesman. He's one of the leaders of the pro-life movement. And she said, oh, I'm not with you on that. And I said, I thought you said you taught at this Catholic high school. Yeah, but I'm not in favor of where you are. I said, I'm embarrassed that you're even here. And moved on. Little things like that are bothersome. The one that said I'd wasted 40 years of my life, I couldn't understand how she couldn't understand that every day was a blessing. Even though all you're going to get all day, for the most part, is a lot of grief. But by having prayer time every day at 10 minutes to 12, and being there with all the other staff, being on the phone with people then, by Zoom, made a huge difference. It's like this is God's family here. And we're all trying to do the best we can with our limited...
It's God's work.
It's God's work.
As Mother Teresa told you.
Yep, absolutely. And so just so many different things. I started to write different stories, and there was about 80 of them that I came up with and whatnot. And what motivated me, I don't know. My father died before I was 3. My mother took me to church every Sunday. I was an altar server for years. I just saw this. I was invited to see a production of Jesus Christ Superstar, and it was a time in my life where I was this is before I got involved in the pro-life movement, and I said, well, I don't want to see this. So it's being held in the church, so I went there. And when I came out of there, what I got from it was God's love for me. Now, how I got that, I wouldn't cross the street for a folk mass these days. But for people that enjoy that, I'm happy for them. And the people that get spiritual nourishment from them, because like I did, I got spiritual nourishment from that, and it was the love of God again. Just like when I was going along this boardwalk with my son Jimmy in the stroller, and realized how much God loved me and how much I loved God. Amazing.
Yeah. So we are today. Things are very different right now. It's extremely challenging, but it was challenging before as well, but it's different. And
but we have the media now.
Yes.
We have the interim newspaper.
Yeah.
We have Campaign Life Coalition News.
Yeah.
We got LifeSite, and all of those things we never had back then.
That's right. Yeah.
So we got them now.
So what's your advice to all the younger people who want to get involved and those who are involved? And, there's a lot of really frightening things happening right now. Well, what can you say to them?
Trust in God, all others pay cash. And with the young people, you're not our future. You are our present. To the older people that say, well, what can I do? I'm now so-and-so. Write a letter.
Yeah.
Send a check.
Yeah.
Say some prayers. One lady that I know organizes a little rosary walk for the unborn in her local park. And she might get 5 people to go with her, but she's doing something. And as I said before, I don't want God to come looking for me and find me sitting on my tail feathers when all this evil's taking place. Everybody's got to speak up. This is your issue, everybody's issue, not just mine. It's everybody's issue as a human being.
The last question. The church right now is in a disastrous state, as far as the leadership, I should say. And we used to depend a lot on the church, but as we learned, we can't really depend on rather the church leadership. The church is the body of believers, and we always will depend on that. But what's your advice on that, the situation where even in Rome, they're leading in the opposite direction to where we've been trying to take the world?
What I said years and years ago was adopt a politician.
Yeah.
And then I said adopt a clergyman. And say something, when you hear a homily that you like, say, very good, thank you for doing that.
Right.
And I got to the point where if I was in a large room and the cardinal was there and he finished, I'd yell, thank you, Your Eminence. And he'd turn and look and the people would applaud.
Yeah.
Oh, geez, these people, they appreciated this? Oh, I'm glad. And then that sort of thing would get them going. And individual clergymen, I've talked to so many clergymen of all different faith communities and tried to buoy them up and say, you can do this and here's how you can do it. And they would go and do it. You don't know what kind of constraints are on them. Priests being yanked out of churches because of something normal and positive they said in a loving manner. I spoke at a church one time where the people got up and walked out. And I was talking about Mother Teresa loving the children and Cardinal O'Connor saying, bring the children to me. They walked out of the church. I saw them get up and walk out. You know, you don't know what kind of stress all these people are in. So when I was asked to be on the first parish council in my parish 50 years ago, I guess, something like that, I said yes. And then over the years, other people were elected and I moved on. And then maybe 10 years ago, the priest said, I need your help. Worst thing you could ask me for is my help, because then I can't look away. Okay, so I got on the parish council again. And by supporting the priest or the clergyman of whatever faith community, it means one heck of a lot to them when you stand up behind them so they know they're not alone. So when they give the spiritual message, you then take it to the streets and do what you have to do as a lay person and a citizen.
So support those who are saying and doing the right things.
Yeah.
Above all. Yeah.
And the ones that aren't doing the right thing, in a way that you are not going to beat them up.
Yeah.
Talk to them and say, I disagree with that, what you said about this and that.
Don't condemn them.
No, don't condemn them. I mean, I know a guy who just, I don't go to church anymore. I said, why not? And he said, well, there was a sermon, and it was about, in fact, it was just repeated this last couple of weeks, about the people going into the vineyards at the 11th hour, and they were paid the same amount of money as the ones going in at the first hour. That's not fair, and whatever. I said, it's meant to mean that if you find faith in God at the 11th hour, you were still welcome. And what was the other one that was the good and faithful servant, because he marked the invoices down, and people didn't like those. And
he was wise to the ways of the world.
That's correct. But the priest said he was actually cutting out his own commission and stuff. And I said, I don't know if anybody gave 50% commission on the oils and whatnot. But nevertheless, it's like that.
Yeah.
And maintain a sense of humor.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you take yourself seriously and everybody around you, this is bad. Be joyful.
Yeah.
All the time. Despite everything that happens, be joyful, pray hard, and go and do what you can do.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks, Jim.
You're welcome.
Well, everyone, I hope that you've learned some things from this, and you benefit from the experiences of Jim Hughes and all the people that he's mentioned. And I encourage you to pass this along to other people. There's a lot of wisdom here. There's a lot of experience. And the next generation will carry on and with the fight. It's a good fight. And we are doing what we've been put on this earth to do the will of God in whatever way we can with the gifts that we have and don't have, to the best that we can. So thanks, Jim. And
My pleasure.
God bless you.
God
Okay?
bless you too.
All right.